So, this is Radio Statler, and I'll go down the line. We've got Neo.
Oh, me. Hi.
Hi. Sidepocket.
Where am I again?
Stoppay. Darko. Nikgod.
What up?
Bunny. Beaches.
Hi.
And I'm Johnny Christmas. I'm going to take a selfie of all of us now. Just like last year. Woo!
I'm actually in this.
No, I got a selfie of them. All right, so
Creative
I'll let you guys go ahead and kick it off and tell everyone what's going on. And I'm emceeing, which is weird and funny.
Well, all right. Can everybody hear me okay? Is this all right? Yeah? Speak up?
Yeah.
Eat the
I gotta be
mic.
louder. All right. Make love to the mic.
Yeah, do that.
Okay. Mike, do you consent to this?
Oral for everyone.
It's into it. All right. Radio Statler, 10 years of doing it live. It's been 10 years. When did that happen?
10 years.
It's been 10 fucking years?
Yeah, 10 years. It's surprising.
Recount.
What have we done? Well, we made radio.
Yeah.
On the internet.
Have you guys out there been listening? We got some Radio Statler fans. Do you know what Radio Statler is? Yeah?
We got the one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have exactly
We
one
can't
fan.
see you,
That
but we
sounds
know you're
about-
there.
Radio
All
Statler is
1,000 of you.
Radio Statler's an impromptu radio station. We've been running out of Hope upstairs downstairs on the mezzanine for 10 years now, which is crazy. We got a little booth down there. We do shows. We have a full programming deck this year.
Pretty much, yeah.
Our listener base seems to actually be like primarily European. It's a lot of the people who can't attend Hope because like it's just too costly and they're out in Europe. And so we're providing the voice of Hope to Europe, maybe for people who can't stream the video talks but can do some audio. Maybe they don't like any of the talks that are going on currently.
Maybe they're just not being let into the country anymore.
Or that's
Definitely
very common.
It
I've
used to
lost
be-
a friend to that already. So we provide alternate programming as well. So it's almost like another talk track that's going on at Hope that's purely audio. And so that's what Radio Statler has been for 10 years.
It'd be like fifth track, right?
Yeah. If we count the X track, it's like a fifth talk track because we have discussions going on there that aren't from any speakers here. We have big groups that we let in.
Yeah,
and
it's
we'll
very-
discuss a lot of that, I'm sure, in the...
It's very community driven. It's the stuff that people at the conference would like to come and do. So let's get started. So we already did who we are. That should really have a question mark.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good work, everyone.
Yeah, about that.
Who are we?
Who are we?
We're not asking who we are. We know who we are.
Yeah.
I have a new Twitter handle.
You do?
Do.
Good work. There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
So I
much.
think that's good.
Uh-huh.
All right. What? You want to go, Nika?
Sure, yeah. So I guess why Radio Statler? There are a bunch of people that wonder that, and radio because, I don't know, like, it's cool, and, there are lots of pirate radio stations that have historically... I haven't seen these slides, by the way. This is the first time I've seen these. So, I mean, there's a huge history in the hacker community of pirate radio. So we're continuing on in that tradition, and it lets us do a lot of really interesting stuff. Also, we apparently love the Muppets. I didn't approve that, but sure.
I did.
How can you not like the Muppets?
I didn't
am a
say
Muppet.
that I didn't.
I'm
I just
offended
said
by
I didn't
that.
approve of that in the slides.
It's very simple. You just put your hand forward. You go, "Oh, everybody loves the Muppets.
Sure.
Thank you, Grover.
But no. In all actuality, before this was the Hotel Pennsylvania, this was the Statler Hotel. Yeah, sure. I'll let you do this. You got things for.
Yeah, so it was the Hotel Pennsylvania originally, because this opened around the same time that the original Penn Station did, the beautiful one that they decided to tear down for the piece of crap across the street. Then it was bought, and they changed the name to Hotel Statler, and then they realized that was pretty stupid, and then changed it back to Hotel Pennsylvania in '91, and it's been that way ever since. One of the ways the name still exists is actually the Statler Grill, which I think it just closed down, but there was the Statler Grill in the hotel, and that was basically the only thing that was left that kept the original name, or the temporary name, and the name of one of the original managers.
Quick interesting fact about this, there used to actually be a tunnel that connected the Hotel Pennsylvania to Penn Station, and that's one of the main reasons why it was such a big hub in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's remnants
Seen
of it down there still,
Yep.
which is really cool. Go find it.
We've taken pictures.
Yeah.
But
No,
don't
really,
go
go
up on
find
the
it.
roof.
Not right now.
But not right now.
No. Right now you should
Will,
stay.
go ahead, Will. Wait.
Totally deny that we ever
After
give
you're
this
drunk.
suggestion.
Question? A question already in the front here?
No, just an escapee.
Oh, okay.
Continue.
All right.
Congrats. Glad to have you.
Why do we do something like Radio Statler? Yeah, there is some booze involved. That is a thing.
Cheers.
Woo! What?
And also, it is probably the closest thing that we really have to a social life.
It takes a lot of coordination. We all chat with each other a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, we've made some really awesome friends through this that now are people you look to for thick and thin, because doing stuff like this is surprisingly hard. And it's great to meet good people. It's great to work with good people and to find folks who you wind up wanting to stick around with and continuing to do stuff with.
Yeah. But the actual mechanics of how this happened, which are detailed there, is in 2007 there were the Hope forums, and one of the things on the Hope forums was a solicitation for things for people to do, and there was a lot of talk there that started about we wanted to stream stuff on the internet, and this was before video streaming was totally feasible. We didn't have 10 gig. We had something like, 30 meg or something.
Yeah,
To put it in perspective, we streamed over Verizon one year.
Yeah.
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 Weren't we using Justin TV that first year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is
guys
now
were.
Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were a bunch of people who got together, and I think of those it was Darko, me, Bunny, and I think that's all that's left.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good group. There were a bunch of people that were really into it, and I had some gear and was like, I know how to do this, and I was naive.
And I was fortunate enough to be the manager of a college radio station at the time, and probably past statute of limitations. A lot of gear temporarily went out for maintenance the weekend of the Hope Conference for a couple of years.
It literally went out for maintenance.
Yes.
It was out of the building.
Definition of maintenance is very wide.
Yes.
And we happen to be good at maintaining it. That's exactly what was happening.
We were good at maintaining it.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Third were.
Things went back in better condition than they came to us with most of the time.
Yeah. So it was literally a pirate radio station at the time, and we were even like using stolen equipment to broadcast
Pirating the equipment.
out of Hope. Like how Hope is that? That's Hope as fuck.
Didn't we steal the curtains and steal the sofas, which were inflatable cushions at that time?
Yeah, we had those.
Yes.
We
They
we
were.
stole it from the Knock, didn't we? Borrowed from the Knock. Yes, I think that's what we did. Or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Dude, I miss those chairs. We had the inflatable furniture was
They
my
were so
favorite
damn
studio of all the studios we
Yeah,
had.
absolutely. We need to bring that back.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, and we'll get back to that actually on one of the later slides.
Yeah.
'cause-
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some fun slides.
Yeah. All right. Next.
So
Theft.
you're probably thinking, how do you?
Steal equipment.
It's almost the same thing as magic.
We forgot something. Yeah, the magic pixie dust is theft.
It's really stealing equipment. I still think to this day, at least I can think of at least a few things that we steal from somewhere. There's an organization that we've stolen some stuff from. I mean, temporarily borrowed.
Yes.
I've had my stuff
I mean,
stolen.
it goes back where it came from.
And smells
generally.
very yummy.
Yes.
But yeah, to make something like Radio Statler happen, it's both easier and harder than you think it is. You really need to focus on 3 areas. You need to worry about what content you're going to put on, about getting people involved, because it doesn't just happen, and you need people to run it. And then technology. I mean, you need stuff to stream. You're going to need audio equipment. You need anything you want to do, like call IRS scammers.
We haven't done that yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you should listen to Radio Statler when we decided to call and scam the IRS
Hope
scammers.
2020.
Yeah, we had a call-in line one year.
We had a call in like
Oh,
like the-
man, was that a pain in the ass.
I loved getting prank called by Australia every single night.
I'll tell.
That's the best feeling in the world when Australians bother to prank call you.
and complain about the
Thanks,
sausage
mate.
fest.
I'll tell you a quick story from the first year we had a call-in show. We had an Asterisk box that I had set up, and I'd forgotten to put a timeout on the dial. So we had people the phone would just ring and ring and ring and ring for hours. So when we were done with the event, I got back home and realized that I had a $300 phone bill.
And how many of those minutes that you got billed for were for people just leaving the phone off hook?
I probably most of them. Yeah. We definitely didn't have $300 worth of actual use out of that.
Yeah.
We didn't have $300 worth of dollars.
But yeah, I mean, this is where you come in. I mean, it's really easy to spin up a streaming radio station nowadays. You need a laptop, you need a mic, maybe a headphone, and an internet connection. But you can only get it so good with that. When you start scaling, when you want to say we want to have multiple people on the air, we want to be able to have people call in, we want to, be able to record this and be able to have it ready for download. We want to be able to pull in streams from other things. I mean, the work that gets done by the team here, and particularly by Nikgod, is really impressive. It starts easy, but as soon as you start wanting to do more stuff, it scales dramatically. And that brings you to people. You need good people to make this happen. The only reason Statler is still happening is the people. Is because we've got people who are passionate and people who are willing to put in the effort and have the skills to make it happen. And then content, which I'm going to let Beaches talk about because he's the man on that.
Yeah, no, just a word on that. I think it's important to point out that while this is a Hope-sanctioned thing that we do, it was pretty much left up to just us to manage. There wasn't really an option of like, well, we need to tap Hope for funds to purchase something that we need, or we need to get Hope staffers to man the booth, or like that was not a thing. Hope just didn't have it available for us. They were like, you want to run a radio station? You can, and that's the most we can give you for that is authorization to do it. After that, like, you guys are on your own. Good luck, have fun.
They never wanted to know about us in the first place. I'm convinced.
But it's quite literally like a pirate ship.
And maybe we'll give you space on the mezzanine. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, and sometimes we had to fight, but I like fighting.
You're scrappy.
Yeah, I'm scrappy.
Plus, it makes good radio.
That's why I get this outfit. It blinds the attacker.
Dazzle.
I thought it was our mobile antenna.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my God!
You were talking.
Was I talking?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about content.
Yeah.
Well, so content.
Content.
So we have a content slide.
We actually have we have a lot of slides about content.
Okay, we can get to that later.
Yeah.
Let's just go in order.
You need content.
You do
for
need
radio
content.
stations.
You can't just
leave
set
it-
up a box and just let it stream silence. I mean, you can do
Google that shit.
You can. We
Dead air
have.
radio.
That is
You
the
can also play multiple hours of chickens.
Yeah,
That is a thing.
we did that this year.
Why
if anyone
haven't we
enjoyed
done that
one.
yet?
We have.
We did.
Yeah.
That was so before
Space-
we went
space
live
chickens.
today. Yeah, space chickens. So last time we did a drum loop for I think 2 to 3 hours while we
Yeah.
were waiting for things to kind of get ready to start. Yeah, it was hours.
Hours.
I can prove it. Somebody actually recorded from the start of the stream to the end.
Yeah.
And it's like 2.5 hours. You have to go 2.5 hours into the 3-day.
2 hours,
9 gig
47 minutes,
MP3 file. Do
13
you know how much
seconds.
audio that is? The 9 gig file.
It's a 9 gig MP3 is the end result of what we have going on here.
Yeah, if you want to edit it, you have to like open it in Audacity and then go away for an hour and 15 minutes, and then when you come back, either it's loaded or it's crashed.
There's
Speaking
Night
of
Owl.
getting loaded.
Welcome.
Hey!
No, there, good. So I was going to make sure he was sitting up here. Everyone, this is Night Owl.
Hi, Night Owl.
One of my favorite parts of Radio Statler, because he brings the booze.
What is your favorite part of Night Owl?
All right.
It's the sunglasses.
So
How can that not be your? I don't know. It's between the sunglasses and the beard.
I think we should see some pictures.
We should see some pictures.
You guys
All right.
want to see some pictures of the booth?
Yeah.
So this is
That was
booth.
a
We want
smattering of enthusiasm.
the little anemic.
Well, they're as confused about what's going on up here as we are. That's all it was.
Here's a better idea. Like it or not, you're going to see
And
pictures.
we're going to show them anyway.
It doesn't matter about your enthusiasm.
All right, drum roll,
You're going to see the pictures of the booth. All right. So this is the current iteration of the booth. Well,
This is V 3.1.
3 point something.
This is some high-tech shit.
I don't know. We've gone through a lot of iterations on this thing. One of which we actually built like full walls, and it was terrible.
With a roof.
It was moist.
It was so hot in there.
The Nikgod sleeping is the one we had.
Yeah. So all right. So there's a thing, the phenomenon in my life where people like to take pictures of me asleep. It's across all facets of my life. Just my friends like to take pictures of me asleep.
I mean, look at
very
you.
entertaining.
You look so peaceful, which is so very, very different from when he's
This
awake.
looks so soft.
You just have to document it.
Yeah.
Just
Don't you want to just pet his head?
so manly.
I already have a couple pictures of him sleeping.
So the roof with the booth, the booth with the roof was the worst. It was so hot in there.
Whose dumb idea
Like we
was that?
we tried to build a soundproof booth for obvious reasons because this con is noisy and we're on meds. You couldn't last 30 minutes in there. It was insane, and there was nothing that we could do about it. And we had to that was the booth for that hope, and we had to just suck it up and deal with it. But
Don't forget the Virtual Boy Vision red light.
Oh yeah, and so we had the on the air light, which is a red bulb, but that was in the booth, and it was the only source of light in the booth. So as soon as you go in the booth, it's just red and everything's hot, and you're just definitely in hell.
Under normal circumstances, you have the on-air light outside the booth, but we weren't going to do that.
It's
right.
We actually punched the roof off.
All right.
Right.
And the one in the booth was actually controlled outside the booth. So when you were in the booth, it often went dark on you.
Plus, we're radio. We're blind anyway.
Yeah. Instructions unclear. Penis caught in ceiling fan.
And that's why we ended up having to punch holes through the roof so we could breathe, and then punch holes through the wall so we could communicate meaningfully through a hole in the wall, saying more volume, less volume.
Hey. punch
And then
holes
we
through the
threw
wall.
that booth in the garbage.
Yes.
After spending $600 and at least $300 transporting it in a thing. If you want to go visit our talk last year, I go into the whole story.
Yeah, about how the trailer got towed.
Yeah. Our trailer got towed. We couldn't bring it back It was
Because
a nightmare.
U-Haul didn't renew the registration.
Yep.
Like they do.
It's a great life lesson, which is the current iteration of the booth we have. We wound up using basically rigid insulation foam, and that's what we did the first year because we were like, shit, how the hell do we make a booth?
Did we do it the first
Yeah, the first year we
Yeah, we did.
We did
It's
blue
always
foam.
been
Yeah.
insulation.
And we were like, because we were talking, we're like, how the hell do we do this? And we thought, well, maybe we can get like insulation, or we can get foam, or we can get like batting. And we realized, okay, none of us have the money. We're all broke. We don't got the money to go buy expensive stuff. Hey, we can buy these sheets of blue foam for like $2.50 a piece.
So we stole it. Right?
Yeah.
No comment.
Allegedly.
I wish it was still $2.50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We bought
That
three
was-
new panels, and it was like $60. I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, and then we decided while doing it, like, hey, you know what? We could do this so much better. And then we wound up over-engineering the shit out of it and learn from our mistakes.
Don't over-engineer anything.
You know
There's
what?
a reason that keep it simple, stupid is an acronym.
This year's booth is pretty well engineered, though. Like, it has engineering. It has that slide rail,
which
is
guy's not here,
amazing.
but Vader, who was here one year, built that. We gave him a bunch of foam, and he sat around cutting it up and figuring out how to actually engineer
we have
a
a
pocket
Vader-
sliding door out
sliding
of
door.
rigid
Drink to
foam.
bear.
Vader is the one, so where Nikgod is sleeping, the one to the right.
To the
left.
Yeah.
To the their
That
left.
was
yeah.
Vader figuring out how to make it
Stage
slide.
So this,
The one that's stage right.
Left.
yeah. This is the booth we have now this year. You're welcome to come to Mez and check it out. It's pretty cool,
Yeah.
given all that's going on. Like, I think I would say
Also,
this is
when
the best booth we've ever had.
This year, we don't have a table in the back area that's by the Segway track. So when the Segway goes by, it goes whoosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Like, the wall moves. Every time a Segway goes by, the
Yeah.
booth goes.
And thank God no one's gone through the wall.
Hey, that's still
Yeah.
an improvement over the year that
Thurman's
our
still here.
walls were the backstop for the Segways.
Oh, yeah, you mean the
Yeah.
crash test?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
were where
yeah.
the Segways stopped if they had to.
Yeah.
So we
Also real-
moved that around.
I mean, there was breaking news, and then there was.
And then there,
Also-
they
Literally.
stopped
Yeah,
putting up-
breaking news.
Also, real quick,
Someone broke the news.
our current booth has way less penis on the wall.
Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah, so if you're doing a project with a group of hackers, be prepared to have to cover some shit up.
And
Yeah.
by shit, we mean dick.
Yeah, like when we say, like,
Dicks
hey, this
everywhere.
is a fun booth, go ahead and draw on the walls. What's the first thing that ever gets
Yes.
drawn on anything ever?
Yeah,
It's
I can
penises.
attest to that. Radio
And-
Statler has made me really question about what most people here think penises actually look like.
If we knew what they looked like, we would have gone to art school and not done radio.
I only have a
None of us
very
have ever-
narrow realm of experience, so I.
Very narrow.
That does explain a few things about the graffiti in there, Johnny.
Let's find out what
A
the
man
next slide
can
is.
dream.
So I think we all have a clear idea as to what the booth looks like.
Yep. So slide.
Oh, yeah.
So
Now this one is totally.
how is Radio
This is
Statler?
what it should look like.
This is a flowchart I whipped up in about 5 minutes. The details all of the different interconnected pieces that we use to run the radio station. I took some liberties. I couldn't find a mixer, so I used a hi-fi receiver.
It's a mixer. It counts.
It's like the same thing.
It's sort of the same
It
thing.
makes audio go places.
Yeah.
And toast.
yeah.
I like the fact that the telephone hybrid that we never actually get to work is on there.
Yeah, I was fairly optimistic.
Projector.
It sounds like a night owl problem.
So at
bring
the
it.
core, everybody's connecting to the streaming server. That's the stream.radiostatler.com, port 8000. That's our IceCast server. That's sitting there on a server that's in the work area of the booth. You can come by, you can look at it. It's a server. It looks like a server.
It's a computer.
It acts like a server.
But
It
bigger.
acts like a server.
And there's
because it
lights.
is. And then we have the stream computer, which is running a few different things. It's actually running our Nicecast streaming software. It's a Mac. Also, I'm going to throw this out there. It's running El Capitan. So if anybody wants to own it, have fun because it's probably vulnerable.
Latest.
What are you
ad.
doing?
Wait,
We can't patch that.
I
Now we
put
have
a
to steal.
vulnerable machine on the internet and it hasn't gotten owned yet. Come on, guys.
And a hacker con.
You should tell them.
Well,
Hey, wait, why is
All
my
right.
phone blowing up?
It's going to be down in 5 minutes.
so
yeah.
in the stream computer, we have it connected to the mixer via a Dante audio over networking system, which is also how we get talk audio down from the 18th floor. So we get that over the Dante network as well. And obviously, we have mics in the booth that go into the mixer, and we have a little aux cable so you can plug in your laptop and all that fun stuff. And all that goes into the stream computer, gets combined with iTunes audio, which is how we play music because we're professional. And all that gets archived on, theoretically, the streaming server, except not always. And then we've got editing stations that we have so that people can pull down the raw audio, the 9 gig file that Beaches was mentioning, and you can cut out individual segments of that. And the people who do that work, it is extraordinarily boring and extraordinarily useful. And the people that do that are heroes because none of us have the time to.
You mean Stoppay, the person who does that?
Actually,
It's been like 3 or 4 years since I've touched an audio video.
No, really.
so
I think Beaches,
My
don't
wife.
you guilt your
Sidepocket?
significant other into
No,
doing
your
it
wife.
wife.
Beach's wife.
remotely.
Beach's wife is doing this editing remotely.
right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's a wonderful human being.
Just make some
Remember,
cookies.
if you need some free labor, look to your family.
Who's been reading the Ferengi?
That's child labor laws don't cover your own children. Just a heads
And
up.
also, and also,
Pro tip.
your family can't quit without lawyers.
Bless you.
Bless you.
So yeah, and then we upload that stuff to the website. So we have the archive going, and you'll be able to catch whatever we've edited down there, and it's really cool stuff. So that's the broad overview. It's fairly simple. I mean, straightforward.
I really like how our mics are gendered in this diagram.
It's people.
It's people. It's
man.
generic
Just
people.
The mics are people.
Yeah. Women can wear ties too, Sidepocket.
Soylent
So people
Statler
are
is
named
people.
Mike.
So I will say,
Okay.
one thing we didn't have time to do was to show evolution over the years, because this is, one, technology has advanced, making our lives a little simpler, and two, this is way the hell less complicated than we used to make it, because it was all analog gear, and then we had crazy, insane PBX and VoIP systems, and batshit audio routing, and things that would break on a regular basis.
I mean, we still have all of
Yeah.
that. Literally everything you mentioned, we still have.
The
I
more
will say,
things
at least
change.
we're not having to do what we had to do the second year, where mid-con we wound up having our booth look like a friggin' rat's nest, because we kept having cables break and connectors not working. So we were pretty much soldering connectors while on the radio so that we could repatch stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although it tends to look like a war zone after. This year we forgot a headphone amp, so we used. You don't know this. You're gonna love this.
Oh, God.
So we had a little backup mixer and then 2 audio interfaces. One of the audio interfaces we used to plug in so that we could have a headphone amp, And then we plugged in the other two and daisy chained from one to the other so that we got an extra headphone output with each one.
So what we're saying is jury rig the crap out of everything.
Just make it work. It's
And
fine.
When
Doesn't
in
have to be
doubt,
pretty.
wing it.
I mean, as long as no one gets electrocuted, it's fine. And if someone does, just like,
It makes for great programming.
great
drop
radio.
them into the lobby so then they blame the hotel.
Hey, outside those doors, it's no longer our problem.
All right. So, what equipment do we need? I think that's pretty much everything we just said.
That's. I mean, other than there's one glaring thing that we missed, which is a computer.
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow that's kind of important.
Like
Maybe
computers
just
involved
a
in
edit
that.
this right now. Is that okay?
And booze.
But yeah, everything else, like the audio is fairly simple. We have a fairly complicated system, and that's really only because we need to get talk audio from up here. If it wasn't for that, like you can do it with like a $20 mixer that you get and we have at B&H, and like some microphones and stands, and that's it. You can do this real easy.
And by the way, if you want to hear more about B&H Reynolds, look to our talk last year about how we did probably immoral things.
We've committed religious sin.
Radio Statler, we're not kosher.
They're not giving me a hard time about it. Yeah.
Those are beautiful.
This is the 30-minute mark, guys. What mark? When the ears change.
That's how we know.
What? Who? What?
All right. You got to extend them.
Extendo Euro.
Transformers.
I didn't mean to take the whole panel down with.
All right.
Well, you did, Johnny.
All right.
Let's see what's up next.
It's ear o'clock.
So now we talk about content.
Oh,
Kidnapping.
Yeah, you guys are like, oh, you have to talk about content. I'm like, I have like 3 slides about content later.
Yeah.
All right, so how do you find content? Well, for us, ask speakers at Hope if they want to come on the air.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's like, hey, do you want more time? Is there stuff you want to like cover that you can't cover in your panel? Maybe you have other interests. Maybe there's other stuff that you're doing that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you wish you had a second hour for your talk?
Yeah.
It's also really fun to get people who have different panels but have similar talking points or backgrounds together in the same room, a lot of times meeting each other for the first time.
Yeah.
That's the thing we've done is, exactly that, getting people together.
It's like
to
you
fight.
guys all do the IoT stuff, and you might want to meet each other
Or biohacking.
talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Or biohacking.
Or digging dirt in the history of things that we wish we had forgotten.
Hence the archive.
Yeah, I know. We did a terrible thing last
Wanted
night.
to do
Terrible.
red team versus blue team. This was all really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was part of the sysadministrivia red team versus blue team discussion, which was super fun. Those guys, he's here. Yeah, cool. You're missing one, but anyway.
Is Brent here?
Yeah, Brent's in bed.
So Brent is
Having
being
fun.
a curmudgeon. So Brent is being Brent.
Come on, Brent.
I just want to point out that there's
But yeah, so like another thing we have is like the sysadministrivia one was actually I think you guys reached out to us. Last time. And you were like, we want to do a thing, and we're thinking kind of at this thing. And I was like, well, I know some people, we can do that. And then we did. The gun law panel was something that Nikgod was like.
That was me.
Yeah, he was like, I think this would be a really interesting thing, and I think that we could get a nice diversity of opinions on this. And we're like, well, okay, yeah.
And
let's
nobody
do that.
got shot
And,
for the first time ever.
Yep.
So like having people that come up and be like, hey, I have a show idea. Let's do this thing. What if we had some like we got these people together? That'd be really cool. Okay, let's go do that. Sometimes we'll offer podcasts. Like, yeah, you guys do a podcast. Come do a live version on the air for us. So like, and actually, so one of the big things that we really try to enforce as best as we can is that if you guys are if you're doing a podcast for broadcasting your podcast, you should actually be at Hope. Because we're supposed to be bringing hope to the world, so you should really be at Hope. So, like the KMO podcast, he did a pre-recorded content, but because that was more convenient for his workflow, he was at Hope. He brought people that were at Hope with him, and they all I think recorded it in probably his hotel room or something.
Yeah.
So
and then just handed it over.
Yeah, and then he handed us an MP3 file.
So that was
okay. Yeah, so that can be a good thing. Privacy Patriots recorded their first episode on Radio Statler. So Restore the Fourth had done something previously and did an interview, and they were like, "Hey, we're making a podcast. Can we do a thing?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. That sounds great." Stereo Semantics, really, really cool. Stoppay, I think, is a fan.
I'm bitter. She's the greatest idea ever. check out the podcast when we put it up. She does a super cool thing with spidering data off of Wikipedia to make songs that you think wouldn't link together do. We left off Stereo Wonderland did a live set today.
Well, hold on. There's more slides.
Oh, we have more slides. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So have recurring shows. 26 o'clock. We tried to do an off the hook if we can get, but since 26 or off the hook is largely consisting of people that are on core staff, they're kind of busy. Live stream the concerts. If we think of interesting people, just ask them to come on air. Mitch Altman's really good. Radio Wonderland, would love the crap out of him. And then literally random strangers in the hallways coming on air. Renoli Santiago, he's a Phantom Freak.
Friggin' awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. We weren't expecting to be help. He just
Thank
showed
you,
up.
Kurt, and
Great.
also you're welcome.
Yeah. I don't think Urban Hawk really counts because I think he did the talk.
He did last talk.
And then he came on air. It's great.
Yeah.
So here's some really cool people that we've had on air. Buddy Byrne,
Look at this list.
obviously. Johnny Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I started out as just like a guy who was on the air.
Yeah.
And I kept being the guy who was on the air every time I'd come to Hope. And now, like, and I would fight being part of Radio Statler staff. Like, I'd be like, I don't want to, commit to anything. Like, if I'm around, I can help you out. And I think, like, this year was the first year where I, like, officially said, all right, I'll dedicate myself. I accept that I'm part of your fucking staff. I just love working, like hanging out around the booth so much. I just like hang out with this whole group but I didn't want to be like dedicating myself to like commitment of being part of shows. And I was like, if I'm around to help you out,
Johnny's afraid of
I'm like,
commitment.
this is awesome.
Johnny was basically the stray cat that always hung around.
And this is
we
like
finally
now, like
domesticated you.
this is what I do. I'm like, if I'm at Hope, I'm at the radio station. I just like was so naturally drawn to this and have been that I finally had to just accept what I myself have become. And it's
I just want to say
fantastic.
that top right photo, look how young they are.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
So that is from the first year
The
we
first
happened, where we had which you can see the green inflatable couch,
yeah.
where we wound up snagging Adam Savage because a couple of us were on security and were escorting him up here, and we're backstage hanging out with him, and we chatted and we're like, hey.
Adam Savage of Mythbusters fame, like that Adam Savage.
Which, by the way,
Not just some other
if you've never
person
seen the
named Adam
talk, you should
Savage.
go back and look at it.
Yeah.
Keynote at Hope is insane. Also, the way he got here is kind of crazy. He contacted Hope and was like, hey, your conference sounds really friggin' cool. I'd love to come. I'm worried about disrupting it, though. Is there a way I can attend without, like, making a scene and making it hard for you guys? And the response was, holy fucking shit, would you like to talk? And he's like, oh, no, man, like, I'm not a hacker. I don't feel like I'm good enough to talk at your conference. And then the response back was, are you friggin' kidding us? Please be our keynote.
Yeah. This is Adam Savage of Mythbusters going, well, no, because like I'm not a hacker. Like I'm not. But I fucking love the idea of what you do, and I just want to be there and see it and experience, but I don't want to like mess everybody up because I'm kind of famous. Is there some way we can work this out? But I'm not a hacker.
World's nicest guy. And
Oh, he was amazing.
Yeah, he had a
And like I
much fun.
I argue best Hope keynote. That's just my subjective opinion, but oh man, was his keynote amazing.
It was about like obsession, right?
Yeah, it was about
yeah,
obsession.
that was
where-
awesome. Yeah.
Go
And
check it out.
bootlegs.
Which, given the fact that we're talking about this after we've all spent, or several of us have spent like a decade on it, is pretty apropos.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have to. I'm going to call out in that list Daniel Ellsberg. That was.
yeah.
That was
he was
a
a
great
phenomenal
experience
Yes.
for me personally. I had a lot of. That was like just so cool.
Daniel,
It was so awesome.
He
to-
was
yeah.
so cool.
I got to interview.
Awesome to pick his brain, you know.
Most everybody.
I got to interview people I'm personally obsessed with, which is an awesome experience. Like I got to meet my heroes. I got to interview Cory Doctorow. Like that's so fucking cool. Daniel Ellsberg, like the man who made whistleblowing famous. Like that's incredible. I brought in Zach Whitaker this year. Like I hunted him down and I was like, man, let's get you on the radio. Can you be on the radio? Come on, we'll do it on the radio. It'll be fun. Like I strong-armed him into like letting me interview him on the radio. And he said that he told me this year that was the greatest interview he's ever been a part of.
Can confirm.
Holy shit.
Told it to me.
Zach Whitaker, amazing tech journalist for ZDNet, by the way. Holy shit. Like that made my hope.
And this comes back to too with content, like
And what Chelsea Manning? I mean, we're not even calling it like we got to
Like-
interview Chelsea Manning. Like it's just in a little booth with like two people just hanging out.
yeah. I mean, this
Holy
goes back to
shit.
the content can come from all kinds of places. Some of these people we went after, we were trying to grab. Some of these came from just happenstance, like hey,
Like
we
walk
wanted-
by.
we're in the same room as them, and we're like, hey, would you like, you're probably going to say no, and I'm sorry for bothering you. Would you like to do this? And you tell them a little bit, and they're like, oh, wow, that's so cool. And you're like, holy shit, you want to be a part of this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's it's kind of an amazing thing. And
that's 90% of what we do on 26 o'clock, which is like, hey, it's like 2:30 in the morning. Who's still awake on the mezzanine?
And it's often someone cool or
that's
funny.
That's how we've had interviews with Jason Scott and Mitch Altman and
Jason Scott's such a great interview.
Oh, yeah.
He's hilarious and informative.
Last night we had Bernie S.
Bernie S is always great to have on here for obvious reasons.
Although I will say, Bernie, we in some ways miss you from last year. We don't have our little troll that we had last time.
It's not. This is not intended to be like an exhaustive list.
No.
Because that would take forever. We had to sit here for 50 minutes just telling. It's like we had this person and then this person.
Well, it would be.
Jason Cat has been on there quite a few times.
Yeah.
So is Bernie.
Of the night, he just sits there and hangs out with us.
I think I want to
go back through the archives because there's some really cool stuff back there that every once in a while I'll just like throw something on and be like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that we did this, and it was really.
I want to really drive home the fact that we're a bunch of nobodies, more or less. Who we're
Speak
just,
for
you know what's
yourself.
fun? Let's make believe. Let's play pretend that we have a radio station. About a
Wow, that was
flamethrower.
a pretty vicious call.
I was quoted in
And that's
Forbes
what
for
talk about
setting
Joe.
my own flamethrower on fire. Not relevant to anything.
Elon Musk flamethrower.
There's
Ow.
better things I wish I was quoted in Forbes for. Thanks for pointing that.
Just quickly adding on that, I'm always impressed I've brought so many people on the radio and I've never had someone say no.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's always impressed me about it. Because like I said, who the hell are we? And just everyone wants to be on this radio.
You never get anyone who's like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna have time for that. I'm sorry.
We should take a second, real quick, by the way. Are there any first timers though in here?
Raise your hand.
Man, that's so many.
We want you
We have
to
something
come
for you.
talk on Radio Statler. We want to hear about
Tomorrow.
You are
Yeah.
conscripted.
Tomorrow.
You are
What
conscripted.
time?
You are conscripted.
I think it's
So we
6.
have like a 30-minute spot.
Yeah.
Well, Beach has looked that up. Yeah, like we want to hear what you have to say. We want to hear what your experiences are.
We want to get noobs
How you feel
noobs
about
on the air. Yeah.
So I'm almost there.
Yeah, literally,
So-
that's how much content we've had this year, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 6:30 to 7 p.m.
If you're still here.
If you're still here, we have listed on the schedule Hope 12, A Newbie's Hope.
A noob's hope. Yeah, and we want to get people who's first time at Hope on the air. We'll put you on the air and just talk about your experiences, and you can be on on a radio station and part of. And we'll mention you when you're famous and put you in this list and be like, oh, yeah, we had that chick first. But man, we're a bunch of nobodies, and look at this list of people we got to hang out with and talk to.
Pretty cool.
Just because we played pretend.
Yeah.
Just listen to the appreciative applause the person next door is getting.
It's kind of crazy to think about where 10 years ago, this was a little nothing. And
Honestly,
in the last 10 years, we have had an amazing experience with amazing people. We've had some incredible talks. We've had some things that, honestly, I think none of us would have believed would have happened. I mean, I don't think any of us would have thought we would have Chelsea Manning on today, that we would have people and speakers coming to us and asking for it. And I just want to take 1 minute to call out the people who made this happen. I mean, there are some people who aren't here, unfortunately, but I mean, the fact that we have Nikgod, who absolutely kills himself every friggin' time.
Yeah.
to
How
make
much
this
stuff is
happen.
down, and the response is, well, Nikgod's asleep.
Yeah.
And we let him
it's
sleep.
broken.
We're also like, don't wake him up. Just let
Yeah.
him sleep, and we'll take care of it later.
and take pictures.
But it's the hours of work. Just the hours and hours of work just for setup, and the months of prep that go in that he does. Bunny's incredible social outreach that she does every time. The work she does to get us content. The work she does to get people involved. To go out and find people who haven't heard of Statler and be like, hey, look at this awesome thing. Like, this is incredible. Why don't you come be a part of it? Beach's incredible work as a production director, working so hard to get us a schedule, to get content together, to coordinate it. Okay. Johnny's interviewing skills, Stoppay's web skills. I mean,
And I'm
Ask
just
the
here.
hard-hitting question.
Sidepockets just, hustle on everything. And I mean,
I literally sleep in the booth.
yeah.
By the way. Yeah.
Night Owls, just incredible work. And I mean, also saving our ass with a hybrid this time. Neo's boundless energy on it. It is absolutely incredible, and without these people here, it just wouldn't happen. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
a round of applause.
Yeah, we have applause too.
Right.
Let's do questions.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
got.
well, we have some time and we can do some
minutes.
questions. Is anybody?
There's not a microphone, right?
Yeah, there's a
There's
a
There's a mic in the center.
Is the mic up?
If you're just drunk,
I do
just
the mic.
yell.
If there's
First
not,
one up there wins.
Or we
come up here
can.
and ask us.
If there's no questions, I got an idea too. So
You're welcome just to come right over.
Yeah,
here
make
and
one
ask
up.
there you go.
person eating that bowl of food. Don't run with that.
Don't be shy. There's no stupid questions. Yeah, I think I know that guy.
Well, there are, but
No, but we can hear you anyway.
Okay, cool. So running a radio station, like, have you ever considered going into broadcast?
Dear God, no.
Like
we better repeat
like
the question.
professional broadcast.
Some of us were.
Broadcasting Radio Statler.
Oh, like a broadcast.
like FM.
It was a multicast year.
Yeah, we actually.
You mean
did
year
that
round, or you mean
twice.
like on FM bands?
No, just like during Hope, putting it.
We did. We
So we did do that once. Yeah, go ahead and talk about it. Twice.
Twice.
Go take it.
How
Yeah.
much did the FCC hurt you?
I can show you on the
Less
doll.
than you might have thought.
So
Less than you might have thought.
yeah, we have like low power broadcast this time, and someone else, I'm not going to say who, decided to broadcast our stream on a higher power FM thing from somewhere in the hotel that we don't have knowledge of.
We call
Definitely had no idea. that it was
we call it
And
syndication.
we definitely didn't work with them to provide them a better audio stream.
We had syndication. Well, I won't say syndication because that's too official a word.
Check 1, 2,
So
mic
the-
check. Okay, we're good.
So the years we did do the FM broadcasting, officially with under FCC purview and all that, there was a lot that we had to keep an eye on because of the FCC regulations, and it was kind of irritating. You have to do your safe harbor stuff. You have to tell all your guests, watch your mouth, which is such a ridiculous thing to say at like a conference based around free speech and such. And be like, well,
Especially Hope.
but the government's here, so you got to keep it on the DL.
Well, there was that one instance, not only on FM, but we apparently were repeated on other formats on shortwave.
Yeah.
We had that
Yeah,
wonderful
we've been-
year where we said, look, this is going to go out, not across the country, but across the planet.
All right, let's try to get some more questions in.
We definitely
Yeah.
did.
Anyone else?
So the short answer, we have done it. It was kind of problematic. It was more trouble than it was worth, maybe, but it was fun doing it.
Can we have questions from people who aren't wearing Radio Statler T-shirts?
Yeah.
Legal reasons. These are not plants.
I have not been on the show. I just happen to have a T-shirt
Yeah.
and a side pocket.
All right, let's crank the questions out.
Okay.
The question is, what would you say would be the best and worst moments of Radio Statler over the years?
Yeah.
Oh,
We don't
God.
have
We
enough
need
time.
another
Those-
panel.
First moment is
All
when
of
I
them.
show up.
The worst moment was like 45 minutes of cooking live bacon and thinking it was a good idea.
Which is also the best moment.
Yeah, and trying to then, if I remember correctly, returning those microphones
Yeah,
covered in
yeah.
bacon grease to Orthodox Jewish people.
Yeah, you should. We go into that story. Go look up our talk from last
Because
year.
we borrowed them from B&H, which is
we rented them from.
we rented the we legitimately rented them from B&H,
Yeah.
which is famously
Every
run
time
by
I walk in there, I have to apologize.
Oh, right. That's why I said
on behalf of all
borrowed.
these goyim.
If you've
famously
ever shopped
run.
at B&H, they have a really good return
All right,
policy.
and then return
so
them, right.
A B&H
So-
rental is buying them and then returning them a few days later.
Yeah, well, it's like we rent from any Best Buy or whatever.
How about we focus on the best moment instead?
B&H Photo is famously run by a huge stock of Hasidic Jews. They're closed on the Sabbath. They're very observant.
Nice people.
And so we borrowed these microphones, cooked a bunch of bacon on the air, and then put them back in the box and returned them. And so you have this these Hasidic Jews opening these boxes of things covered in pork.
Why are we hammering this point home? Let's focus on the best moment, which I still think is the welding hour.
The welding hour.
The initial masked show that actually got the appeal from Australia, Europe, Latin America, Africa. People were calling in and hitting the IRC channels so hard, just enthralled with what we did, and we just were pulling it out of our rear end with no clue what the hell we're doing, and apparently it was the best thing we ever did.
Yeah.
Radio Statler way.
I think my worst thing was that fucking booth with
Yeah.
the roof, the hot booth.
Oh, believe me, it was definitely my worst.
Next question.
Next question.
Two small ones. One, if there's time, if you could talk more about your listenership. You mentioned a lot of listeners from Europe, but just more details if you can recall them. But the other one is, don't you have more slides?
No, we don't.
Actually, we don't.
Okay, we're radio.
No, because we knew
Yeah.
we're
I keep
radio for
hitting
me.
right, and
We knew we would talk a lot, and If we could have made 100 slides full of all the
We
awesome
are the
pictures and
slides.
stuff, but
Yeah, before we go into the other question, is there any other, the first part, is there any other questions that people want to ask, or? All right, so we want to.
Cool.
That's a yes.
we're at
We're off the hook.
So
we're at the 50-minute mark. Do we have to wrap it up, or are we being forced off? Can we go long?
I think we got like another minute or two.
Yeah.
tops.
I mean, if there's anything any stories anyone wants to tell, or
I mean,
really think we got like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can say like our audience is pretty interesting. We've had as much as 300 people, and we've really simultaneously. Yeah, that was our peak.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of people from Europe, but I think we've had all 6 continents. There's a lot of people in Australia. There's a good amount of people in Africa that listen, which is just amazing.
yeah.
Asia loves us.
Yeah.
And it's because they can't get here. It's so expensive to get here from there. And
Yeah.
If
we're
you have a-
broadcasting. We're literally broadcasting hope to the world. And like I said, we're just a bunch of people who are like, wouldn't it be fun to just run a radio station?
And real quick, as we said last panel, if you have a friend in Antarctica that happens to be
Yeah,
able
we
to tune on
want
radio,
that
please
seventh
We want to
come
talk to that
tune in.
penguin.
If you
can
know
say-
anyone who's working with an Antarctic science program, please, dear God, have them tune in tomorrow.
We will send Bunny. She likes penguins.
Oh, I love them.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I'll go down the list again. We got Night Owl, Neo, Sidepocket, Stoppay, Darko, Nikgod, Bunny, Beaches. I'm Johnny Christmas. We're Radio Statler. Thank you guys for 10 years. of
Let's get drunk.
For our shins, we are Radio Statler.
Now I have to run to do a hacking sex panel.